Welcome to our channel once again, ladies and gentlemen. Kindly subscribe to our channel if you are watching us for the first time. And to those who support us, I want to thank you in a very special way. If you want to support the channel further, this is the number you can channel your support. Today, I want us to have a position on a topic that people have weighed in for some times now. I have heard people say that President William Ruto is on his way to sabotage with the West, and some people are arguing that maybe he is headed to the East. You all know that globally there are two powers that are fighting in terms of political and economic battle, and that is the West, basically headed by the big boys USA and Britain. Then we have the East that is also represented fully by the other big boys, Russia, China and Korea. So recently William Ruto has been seen as if he is trying to criticize whatever is going on among the West. Sometimes he's criticizing the formation of the World Bank, and he wants Africa to be fully represented. And sometimes he's questioning why we should involve a dollar as a mode of currency when two African countries undertake a transaction. Recently, he hosted the Iranian president, and I heard many people say that now William Ruto has crossed the red flag. I'm one person who has always maintained that William Ruto is being used like a Trojan horse. And someone was telling me that a Trojan horse is not just the animal, the domestic animal that you see, the horse. But if you check the dictionary meaning of a Trojan horse, this is a person or a thing that is used to perpetuate the interest of another person. And if you look at William Ruto, I am fully persuaded that he is being used by the West. Whatever he says is very different from what he acts. Now, to prove this, there is a summit that is going on. It's about to begin, I think, tomorrow, the Russian African Summit. It wasn't organized today. This is something that has been coming, and State House knew about it. Of course, William Ruto, as one of the most vocal presidents in Africa, was also included. But the information that we are getting, courtesy of the State House spokesperson, Hussein Mohammed, is that William Samoei Ruto is not going to attend that meeting. He's going to be conspicuously missing out. This is a very important meeting, because if you look and you've studied William Ruto, he's been fighting for equal representation with the other foreign powers. Ruto to skip meeting with the Russian President Vladimir Putin, that is reported. President William Ruto will skip the Russia-African Summit presided over by none other than the Russian President himself, Vladimir Putin. State House spokesperson Hussein Mohammed has announced. In a statement, Mohammed said that Ruto will be represented by African Union organs as per the agreement of the African heads of state and government. I don't know whether your guess is as good as mine, because look, William Ruto is not attending this, and he's not sending any representative like he usually sends the Chief Minister Musalia Mudavadi, or sends his deputy Rigathi Gachagua. Of course, we'll tell you that Gachagua is in another meeting, but nothing stops him from sojourning there after the conclusion of the meeting where he is. And so from this, I wanted you to understand what my position has always been. Of course, I can't speak with authority, but from my point of view, William Ruto has been warned by the West not to attend this meeting. Because his undertakings, as people have always said, is that the way he was moving, he was about to rub shoulders the wrong way with the Western countries. I want you to note that about a few days ago, Joe Biden sent trade representatives to Kenya, and they were looking at possibilities and opportunities where Kenya and US can partner bilaterally to benefit. You remember that meeting where Moses Kuria was sidelined, and because of his utterances, he was not allowed to meet the US representatives. This tells you, and I think William Ruto had to choose. He will be asked by the US and those NATO group, the Western countries, what he wants, because already whatever he wants was brought to him by the Western nation. They had, the representative came to Kenya, and of course he benefited, because when they come, there are a lot of goodies. Under Ruto's regime, we have seen several investors from the US coming to look into ways in how they can invest in Kenya. It's only unfortunate that we have a political unrest, the demonstrations going on because William Ruto is busy hiking the prices of basic commodities. We have seen the First Lady in White House coming to pay Ruto a courtesy call. I have always told you that William Ruto is a puppet of the West. They made him become the president of Kenya, and they want him to succeed. For him to succeed, he must align himself to the policies, doctrines, and the dictates of his masters. Because if I make you, I can break you. That is the policy. If I made you president, I can always take off that cap. It's very simple. Let us call a spade because these are things that we know. Today, if the US decides that they want to support Rigathi Gachagua, it will take just a few months and William Ruto will be out of power. Rigathi Gachagua will be the president. If they decide that they want to support Raila Odinga, it will take a day and Raila will be the president. If you look at the kind of support that Raila has with the people. And William Ruto understands very well that for him to maintain the power that he was given, I can assure you that he cannot go against the West. William Ruto is very cunning. Is a master of, is an orator. He understands the Kenyan politics. He has now penetrated into the African Union. When you see him talk, they always give him a standing ovation. And many experts who scrutinize further will tell you that he wants to entrench himself into the African Union. Then it will be very easy for him to champion the interest of the West. Today, the GMO, I've mentioned this over and over, the LGBTQ, the IMF loans, and the taxes, and the removal of the subsidies, and all this. These are dictates of the West, and he must align himself to them. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm submitting to you very humbly to understand that William Ruto has missed this very special meeting with Vladimir Putin because the West do not want it. Joe Biden does not want it. And William Ruto had to choose between the two. So if ever you've always thought that William Ruto is soon going to the East, William Ruto cannot go to the East. I want you to look at, because people try to compare William Ruto to the late Tanzanian president, John Pombe Magufuli, or the late president of Libya, Muammar Gaddafi. And I've always maintained that the difference between William Ruto and those two presidents is that William Ruto will be talking. He does not walk the talk. But if you look at Gaddafi and Magufuli, their talks and actions were in line. When they believed, in fact, they just hated the West because they knew that the West will always, it is like neocolonialism. They have come back and they want to interfere with our elections. They want to exploit our resources. They want to do all this and they want to control everything that we do. Even Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is not attending that meeting. He has sent a representative. So maybe from this you will know. And just to complete this, I want to ask you a question. If it was a meeting that was organized by Joe Biden, let's say for example, US African Summit, like the one that was held in Washington, D.C., do you think William Ruto would have missed? Even if he wanted to miss, do you think he would have missed? The answer is very obvious. He wouldn't have missed. And I'm telling you that with all the unrest that is going on in the country, he knows very well that if he plays obstinate and stubborn, he can come back and find something else. You can go and you're told, don't come back. These are things that we have seen. And so the fear of what is happening in the country, the respect to the big boys, the masters who made in power, has really compelled him to stop. And is not even represented by anyone. He said that he's going to be represented by the AU. So ladies and gentlemen, it is my position that Joe Biden has spoken. When your master coughs, you catch cold.